Welcome back.
Hello.
We're here again. Thanks for joining us. And if you're joining us for the first time, where have you been? Where have you been? We've got the drinks ready. Yeah, my glass is a bit bigger this week. We're heading into week 4 of lockdown. We're, alas, Cripps.
And Clarke. Thank you.
And we like to support the recruitment industry as well as have a bit of a laugh along the way. And if you saw Alan's portrayal of Prince Philip last week, then you'll know what I mean.
Well. And if you didn't, then where the bloody hell were you? I mean, last week, technically, it was an absolute shambles, but Her Majesty and I were marvellous. In fact, I would go as far to say it's BAFTA award-winning. It's me. It's uncanny. It's uncanny.
It is. And unfortunately, this week, it's me trying to do a couple of accents, which is going to be even worse. But there we go. Before I forget, pay Rachel's £94 invoice.
Yes.
Drum roll, please. It's been paid. Yay!
Drinks are on Rachel next week.
For the 94 quid, yeah. So unfortunately, it did take a threat of the small claims court to get there. So I think there's a lesson learned for us recruiters. If people are ignoring you and not taking you seriously, then I think take them to small claims court. Literally within a day, the money was paid. So well done, Rachel. Woo-hoo. Go from there. Now, this week's webinar is inspired by a group of comics. There's actually a group of comics that are obviously bored stiff and not doing any gigs, not going anywhere. So they've been putting on some gigs online for the last couple of weeks. And the first 2 weeks, they actually supported the Trussell Trust. I have to take my time there, which supports hunger, so stops UK hunger. And I think this is their 3rd week, and they had like 5,000 people last week. So now they're selling tickets online. So you can buy a ticket to the gig, and the comedians are getting half the revenue now. So they're actually getting paid as well. And some of my favourite comedians are on. So this is tomorrow night. We'll put the link in the comments for you. I've got a front row seat. Woohoo, 10 quid. For a front row seat. It's £2 just for the normal seat, as it were. So feel free to support that. That'd be great, and have a bit of a laugh along the way. And obviously that's what we're trying to do here. Have a bit of a laugh.
And although we're trying to sort of find the funny, there are different types of laughter. I mean, I know we talked about different levels of humour last time round, but of course there is the old-fashioned guffaw. I'm not sure if people actually use that word guffaw anymore. It's probably been replaced by laughing out loud or the belly laugh. But you also get the people that just like to giggle or to snort. Angela, or they like to wheeze, or just a little titter. And then there are those people that when they've just watched something funny, they'd say, yeah, that was funny. And that's it. And, they just acknowledge it without really laughing. And there's one story this week, which I guarantee everyone watching will know about. And although it didn't make me laugh, a laugh starts with a smile. For me, a laugh is an extension of a smile. And the story that made me smile was the retired British Army captain, Tom Moore, the guy that's pacing up and down his 25-metre garden to raise £1,000 for the NHS frontline workers, and he's just short of £19 million. I mean, I said to Angela before we started, I said, we should really put a petition together to get Richard Branson to match that. But bearing in mind what we said about him a couple of weeks ago, he might not. But I think, if Tom Moore was a recruiter, that is somebody who either set their targets way too low or somebody who is an absolute superstar, a super biller. And I think this story of him might resonate personally with a lot of you if you've got people who are either affected by the disease or you've got people who are actually working on the front line.
Well, I must admit, yeah, I've got my own personal story. I've got my daughter who's a training paramedic, so she's going into an A&E next week for a month as part of her training. So she's going to be on the front line there. So we need to find the funny in things. We do definitely need to find the funny in things. So bants is a term that's used a lot now. Sometimes it's when someone's maybe telling a joke that potentially is a little bit nasty, taking the mickey out of people, and then they end up crowning themselves the Archbishop of Bunterbury. Yeah. That's it from there. In our industry, I think Wayne Kerr from Recruitment Juice, if ever you've seen any of their videos, I think he sums that up perfectly in there. Tom Bennett, love you, the actor that plays him, he's amazing. For me, I prefer like a clever joke or a pun. My favourite comedian of the last 10 years has been Tim Minchin.
Yes, very good.
Which you probably all know about. I've seen him four or five times, and I think he's wonderful. I also follow on Facebook Tim Vine. So again, like those little puns. Although looking at the Facebook page yesterday, the first rule, they've changed the rules, they've updated them, and the first rule is no jokes about coronavirus. So finding the funny.
Yeah, too soon.
Possibly. I did laugh out loud though. I am a bit of a snorter, but I did lull when I read the first joke that was on there, which was, I went in and I said to the librarian, have you got any jokes about, sorry, I've already messed up the first joke. Have you got any books about paranoia? And she said,
don't tell me they said they're behind you. Okay. Look, I think I have a slightly better library joke. We'll try this one out. So I'm bound to insult some people here, but a blonde walks up to a counter and says, oh, hello, can I have a Big Mac and chips, please? And the woman behind the counter said, this is a library. So the blonde said, oh, sorry, can I have a Big Mac and chips, please? See, this is what happens when you work 15 years working from home. It's not the lockdown, it's working from home for 15 years. And you don't have any office banter. You end up just talking to yourself. I mean, my Secret Santa every year is rubbish. The Christmas parties, there's no banter at all. And as for team meetings, I mean, this guy never turns up. But I've worked in offices. I worked in environments where we do laugh at ourselves, and I think you do have to have a little bit of humility. I've seen it where offices have books where you write in stupid things that people have done. I've seen it where you have to wear a dunce's hat. I even had a client where they had a life-sized, not a live, but a life-size stuffed badger that they had to have on their desk. And if I cast my mind back to, I think it was the year 2000, I had lots of paperwork on my desk, and I was making this call to somebody. I'd never spoken to them before. And I picked up the phone and I just said, oh, good morning. Can I speak to Jack Pilchard, please? It's just a made-up name. Can I speak to Jack Pilchard? And this voice said, yeah, is that you, Alan? And I thought, hold on a minute. I've never spoken to this company before. And I said, yeah, how do you know that? And then just in the corner of my eye, I saw this arm go up. And this woman said, yeah, it's me, Emma, on reception. You've dialed the office number. So I dialed our own office number. Now, when you work in an open plan office and you've got people on the same pod as you, try and do that and then scurry away. It's not. It has been duly noticed. So, yeah, rather embarrassing, to say the least.
I'm sure we've all got embarrassing stories. Feel free to share them in the comments if you want to. If you do really want to embarrass yourself and you've got a short, clean joke, we're going to see how much time we've got at the end, and we'll invite you on to the webinar here for you to tell your joke. So feel free to do that. If you want to, just put me please in the comments and I'll invite you on at the end. Okay, so things that have made me laugh this week then. I think the first thing that literally made me laugh was Kellyanne Conway. So if you haven't seen this is her actually talking about, sorry, she was calling out the WHO.
The who?
The WHO.
The who, right, okay. I'm so glad we practiced that. That was so worth it.
Okay, because what she said was that, well, this is COVID-19, not COVID-1. So why are they not more prepared? Okay.
She Welsh, Angela.
Possibly. It's just like, oh my God. Talk about embarrassing. Do it from there. Obviously, Trump's the perfect person of them. We found a fantastic article by Nate White that we'll share with you as to why potentially the English don't appreciate Trump's humour, and it's because he's not funny. And a good example of that was when he was talking about the models that the specialists were using, all the medical specialists, to predict the deaths. So we're talking about the deaths here, and he was talking about how he wanted to make sure he came in under the curve. And he wasn't doing the curve like this. He was doing the curve. In other words, a curvy woman's body. And he even said at the time, he's going, well, I can't do a Trump voice. I didn't get involved in any of the models. I wasn't, well, not that kind of model. Right. And it was, oh my God, I can't believe you just said that. You're doing a presentation on people dying and you're trying to make a joke. Yeah, totally fell flat on his face, totally lost in translation there. He just didn't get it.
Talking of lost in translation, I've got a client that I spend a little bit of time in their Dutch office, and me being a typical Brit abroad, I don't speak any other languages, and I'll put my hand up. Yes, shame on me. But I was running this course, and it was only day one. We'd already done our sort of meet everybody and introductions, and we were talking about questioning techniques. And I was just doing a round robin, and it was closed questions. So everybody just had to ask me a closed question, and it was about me. So yeah. We got around to this particular Dutch lady, and this was her question. She said, so do you like to have affairs? Now, as a trainer, we're pretty good at responding quite quickly. Now, that one, I must admit, it did floor me for a few seconds, and I just said, I'm sorry. It might be my English or my Dutch, I'm not sure. Could you just say that question again? And so she did. She said it really clearly for everybody else to hear. Yeah, you said that you travel abroad and you stay in a hotel. Do you like to have affairs? And right, everyone now is like eyes on me. And I said, do you mean affairs as in me going off with other women? And then, as quick as a flash, she just said, yeah, or men. And I went, seriously? Now, so of course, then the wicked side of me stepped up. And I said, well, look, I can't answer that right now because we're in the middle of a training course. But if you come back to my room later, perhaps I can answer that over a glass of red wine. So look, that actually is a true story. That isn't a joke.
Well, we have got a few jokes to try and make you laugh today, and we've trying to get you ready for the weekend. We've tried to make them recruitment related, so hopefully you've started on the wine like me. I haven't drunk that much yet, am I? I'm doing all right. Or maybe you're taking Gino De Campo's lead. If anyone saw this last night, the road trip that he does with Gordon Ramsay and Fred from First Dates, well, him and Fred were off their tits on cannabis oil that they were using in food, trying it that way. And they ended up in mankinis doing yoga with goats. I kid you not.
Oh, don't.
We'll put the link in. It's brilliant. Do watch it. It's really, really good. So let's try then, and try not to spoil your tea, because obviously there's the thought of people dressed up, and if Alan dressed up in a mankini, that definitely would. So we thought we started with the hats last week. Yep. I had to choose a hat that was a bit queen-like. So what we've done now is decide, right, we're going to do this. Now, Alan, you need to look towards your door to do this. That's it. And I'll look towards you. Okay.
Bossy.
What was that?
You're so bossy. Just doing it.
Because I knew you were going to look towards your window.
Go on, ready.
Looking the other way. Right. Hat one. Are we ready? First one. A recruiter says to a job candidate, in this job, we need someone who is responsible.
Well, I'm the one you need, because every time something went wrong in my last job, they said I was responsible. Next one. Right.
Dum.
So,
oh,
Angela, can you handle a variety of work?
Are you looking at me? You're not, are you?
Angela, can you handle a variety of work?
I should be able to. I've had 10 different jobs in the last 4 months.
Boom, boom.
Hey! Next one. I always want to be floppy. Alan, why did you leave your last job?
It was something my boss said.
Why? What did he say to you?
You're fired. Right, okay. Next one.
On this one. It nearly won the Queen.
Alcatraz, Psycho Ward. So this is me interviewing a graduate, a recent graduate. So, graduate, what sort of salary are you looking for?
Well, in the region of 125,000, but this does depend on the package too.
Okay, so what would you say to a £110,000 package, 5 weeks paid holiday, all your medical paid for, life assurance, health assurance, and a company car, perhaps starting at sort of a lower level Porsche? How about that?
Wow, are you kidding?
Well, yeah, because you started
it. We've all been there. We've all been on that one. Right, next one.
Twat in a hat.
Right. Recruiter asks a candidate, how long were you in your last position?
Well, I would say that my biggest weakness was my listening skills. Right, okay. So, Angela, tell me something about yourself.
Well, I'd rather not. I'd quite like to have this job. Oh, I'm not quick enough with the hats.
Great, I'll suit a bandana.
Right. I'm off down the pits. Right. Alan, why did you leave your last job?
Well, the company relocated and they never told me where to. See, I like that joke. Angela didn't want to keep that one in. So anyway, we'll stick on the relocation thing.
Queen's back.
And if anyone remembers Dr. Hook, all I need is the eye patch. Angela, would you be willing to relocate?
Of course. Where do you want me to sit?
There you go. Everyone a winner.
Right. Back to me. Alan?
Yes.
Freddie Parrot Face, whatever his name was. Right. How well do you perform under pressure?
Pretty good, but I do a much better Bohemian Rhapsody. Oh, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, don't forget, 23rd, St. George's Day. Okay, you thought that was bad.
Last one.
Just stepping into YMCA mode now. Right, last one then. Angela?
Yes?
Why did the recruiter cross the road?
To recruit a chicken.
Why recruit a chicken?
He knew it would accept a poultry salary.
There you go. You see, I told you it was going to be really bad. I told you it was going to be really bad. So look, humour, it's very personal. Some of those you might have found funny. You might have found the hat changes funny. Me, I really am a twat in a hat. I really don't wear them at all. I actually talk about humour on my training courses in relation to gatekeepers. And I say, look, unless you are someone that has quick wit, repartee, and you have good humour and maybe even flirting, unless you are naturally gifted with those things, avoid them like the plague. There is nothing worse than trying to tell a joke, make someone laugh, and tumbleweed. You don't get anything. Oh, by the way, I know.
Well, on that point, I was going to invite some people on, but they've been telling jokes already. Angela's looking the wrong way. Oh, brilliant. No, all that time, did Alan get it right and I've got it wrong?
Yeah, you see. Thank you very much. Thank you, Gareth, for remembering Dr. Hook.
That was one of my mum's favourite crushes. She had a big crush on the guy on Dr. Hook. Justine, I love your one. One of their consultants told the candidate to take a seat and they picked the chair up. She picked up the chair. Brilliant. Okay, is there anyone on here? I'm just double checking. People saying, how can it be the weekend already? Yeah, that's a 4-day week for you, but it is going really quickly, isn't it?
That's going really quick.
Gareth's been watching 8 out of 10 Cats. He's saying the best bits of those. So sure not. I even watched the best of Loose Women. I think it was on last Friday, and I really got into it. I've never really watched Loose Women, but I really enjoyed it. So that we're getting.
I made a confession earlier on Facebook and LinkedIn. You might have seen it. It was a very short burst from me, but it just said, working from home, my confession. I went downstairs at lunchtime today and I watched with my wife Loose Women. Now, that wasn't the confession. The confession was it was a repeat, and I'd already seen it. so that's quite bad. But you mentioned Tim Vine earlier on, and there are certain comedians that, you know, I could watch him for 3, 4, 5 minutes and not remember any of his jokes, apart from when he said, I think, Velcro, it'll never catch on. And Tommy Cooper was brilliant. He just needs to walk on stage, and absolutely superb.
But no, talking of Tim Vine, I was actually on a quiz show of his in the 90s, in the mid 90s, and there were YouTube videos of it. It was mid 90s, so I think it only had 2 seasons. It was called Whittle. If anyone remembers it, probably links to quiz this week, because there was 100 people in the audience, and it obviously whittled down to 1 who won it. So you had to get onto the panel of 10, and it was the 10 quickest that answered the question that got on there. And I did get onto the 10, and I got 4 questions in, I think. So I won 40 quid. And my ex-husband, he won the show. But it was 500 quid, so not quite Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, which I've been watching with fascination. I want to see the original documentary now. Go on, you can do it. Go on.
No, but me being a trainer and standing up in front of people, some people have said, "Oh, do you know who you look like or sound like?" And some people have said that occasionally with my delivery, I do sound like Chris Tarrant, but when I try and do Chris Tarrant, I say, "Oh no, but I don't want to give you that. I can't sound like him." So on that note, I think we better let these good people go. We've had our 15 minutes of unfame, if there is such a word.
It's always 20 as well.
Right, Angela.
Am I meant to be looking that way? That can't be right. Surely I'm meant to be looking. Maybe he was winding me up. Maybe that was banter. I'll find out in the recording once I actually get to look back. Okay, so let's finish then at the end with the word beginning, which seems like another one that made me laugh, that Alan sent me this week. So a guy, it just shows you, as soon as you try and stand up in front of people and talk to an audience, your brain just shuts down. And this guy spent 30 seconds trying to say the word beginning, and it just kept coming out, meninging, ding, 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 ding.
Watch it. It's much better than Angela's Welsh accent.
Everything's Welsh.
Okay. Yeah, come on, let's sign off.
We'll sign off. Have a wonderful weekend, everyone. We'll see you next Friday. If you've got an idea for us for a topic, then feel free to let us know by Wednesday, and we can work on that. So we've had some great time. I noticed no one said me please. They were putting their jokes in the side, but they didn't want to come on screen. That's fine.
Rachel, just in case you missed it because you came in late, this was for you.
The £94 invoice has been paid. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Have a great weekend, everyone.
Bye.